If you want something badly enough, you might actually get it. And the reason for this is because our brain I just feel so laser sharp and I can focus on things, hyper focus. In this video, I am going to give you 5 habits that are backed up by science that are going to change your life completely. Whatever it is you want, you're going to use these 5 habits as the foundation to get that, to achieve those goals. A few years ago, I was a broke student athlete who was also working a part-time job in high school during the pandemic. At 15 years old, I was battling depression and I was on the verge of being put onto antidepressants. At 16, I switched schools, started IB, and hit the restart button on my life. And the only reason I was able to do that and able to come out of that extremely dark hole that nobody has ever seen before, because I could not be online during that time. I could not do anything. I could barely get out of my room. It got to the point where it was so bad that I was going to need antidepressants unless I found another way to make it work. And I did not want to take pills because I know what antidepressants do to your brain. I have heard a lot of stories, a lot of things, and I was not ready to settle for a temporary fix. I wanted something permanent. I wanted a solution that could carry me through the rest of my life. And that is what I'm about to share with you today. It's not going to take a year to see results. If you do these consistently, you might as well see results in a few weeks, a month, 2 months, 6 months. The more you do it, the more results will come and the faster they will come. Something else that's backed up by science is not telling people your goals before you've reached them. So please don't tell anybody about this. Don't tell anybody about your self-improvement journey until you've made strides, until you've actually established that, okay, I'm doing this. This is for real. The first thing that changed my life, and I was actually able to replace antidepressants with this, were calisthenics. Instead of antidepressants, another thing that could be substituted temporarily was sports and working out and exercise. Basically, there was a huge chemical imbalance in my brain. And in order to reduce that, I had to switch things up. I had to make changes in my life, in my lifestyle, so that this would not happen again. If you incorporate these into your life, you will benefit in so many different ways, not just physically, but mentally as well. Now you might be wondering, what does this fancy word mean? Calisthenics are basically exercises that primarily rely on your body weight. And the reason why I love these, and you should totally incorporate these into your life, is because they are so easy to do. You don't need to go and buy an expensive gym membership. You don't need to go running in the rain at 5 o'clock in the morning. You can easily do this from the comfort of your house, from the comfort of your room. Sometimes when you're trying to do workouts, which are already hard as they are, whether you're somebody who enjoys workouts or not, working out is hard. Regardless of what your background is in sports, it can be hard. And so you want to start off with something that is as easy as possible. And this, you don't have to drive all the way to the gym. You can just simply take out a workout mat in your room and start preparing. So some of these exercises involve jumping jacks, trunk twists, push-ups, pull-ups, chin-ups, sit-ups, planks, lunges. Again, you don't need anything to start, just your body and maybe a workout mat. When you exercise, your brain releases this protein called BDNF. It improves your memory, your learning, ability to focus, your comprehension, everything. This is why some of my best teachers always told me to play sports and to not stop doing it, because it would help me a lot. And I didn't really understand what the correlation between playing sports and being smart at school was until now, when I actually did research on it, and now I realized, wow, this is mind-blowing. We need more. I think, honestly, sports should be mandatory, and I guess they are. Now I understand why PE is, mandatory in schools, because it's just so important. There's a direct correlation between it. I remember every time I work out, I just feel so laser sharp, and I can focus on things, hyper focus afterwards. And I don't know if it's because you get this sense of accomplishment and you just finished this really cool task and now you're ready to move on and work and get the rest of your work done during the day. I don't know if it's that, but the science here shows that it is so good for your brain. But it comes with a catch. Studies show that it is more helpful and effective for your brain if it's done regularly. So if you do decide to commit to this, you don't have to do it every day, but try not to take more than a day off, because if you truly want to reap the benefits of this, then you want to go 100% in and commit. And the hardest thing for literally everyone, including me, is commitment. I remember during my school schedule in IB, it was so hectic and tight, and I was just always doing something. And so this is the only thing I had time for. There was no way I could have driven to the gym and back and had enough time to complete the rest of my tasks during the day. You'll often notice top students doing this. There's a reason why student athletes are so heavily recruited by universities as well, because they understand the benefits that come with this. And so if you can start doing this from a young age, or even if you start doing it now, like, it's going to improve your life 1 month from now, 2 months from now, 6 months from now. The second habit that I only recently found out is backed up by science, and I finally understand why people promote it so much, is journaling / writing your goals down / manifestation. Basically, writing goals down in the morning, writing something down that you want to focus on. This shows you that if you want something badly enough, you might actually get it. And the reason for this is because our brain has a filtering system called the reticular activating system, or our RAS. The RAS filters out everything that is not important to us, which is so helpful because otherwise we would be overwhelmed by the insane amount of things that are happening around us all the time. Your RAS is what lets you focus on a conversation with your friend and not the other millions of things that are happening around you in a cafe, for example. Another example is, say you wanted to buy a blue car, and now all of a sudden you start seeing blue cars on the road. It's not that they just started appearing, they were always there. It's just that your RAS was blocking them out because that was not important information. Okay, so now that I've explained what it is, like, why am I saying this? Here's the cool part. You can train your RAS to work in your favor, to let you get the things that you want out of life. See, your RAS, it's kind of located here, it connects the subconscious part of your brain with the conscious part. So what you want to do is marry your conscious thoughts about whatever it is you want out of life with your subconscious mind. This can be achieved in so many different ways, but this is where journaling comes in the most. Journaling, writing stuff down, because when you write things down, you are much more likely to process them. This is why your teachers also tell you to take notes in class and to write them down. My teachers would get so iffy whenever I would try to type my notes, and rightfully so. I understand that now, because you are much more likely to remember things. You're much more likely to focus when you write things down, because you have to take your time and write slowly, right? The best way for you to achieve this is by waking up in the mornings and writing down the first 5 things you can think of as your goals and what you want out of the day or what you want out of life. And then these are the things that you are going to inevitably focus on for the rest of the day. Some people will call it manifestation. Some people will call it just writing your goals down. Some people will call it journaling. I'm not talking about journaling as in keeping a diary or reflecting on your day. No, this is at the start of your day. This is like when you're getting up, what is the thing you want to focus on? Out of the millions of things that you could do, what are the 5 to 10 things that you really want to focus on? And once you make this happen, once you start writing these down, you're going to signal to your RAS that this is something important to look out for. And then every time you find any information on that, every time somebody mentions something about it, basically everything you do from then on will be geared towards reaching that goal, which is literally amazing. And I never thought about it that way until now. I'm so glad I came across this. And from now on, like, I am trying my best to make journaling a huge habit of my day. It takes like 5 minutes in the morning to write these things down and get into the habit of doing it every single day. This next one, I actually struggle with myself, even though I used to do this all the time when I was younger. Reading. I only found out that this is backed up by science because I had to do research on it for a client, and it absolutely blows my mind that this is not taught more often in schools. Like, we're always told to read in school, but they don't explain the reason for it besides like expanding your vocabulary and learning how to write better. Like, there's so much more to it than just those benefits. Not that those aren't important, they are. And so because of this, in the last year, I've really been trying to make reading a part of my personality. I personally find reading quite hard in this day and age of Netflix and social media. There's always something to do. Sitting in one spot and working on one task, it can feel so menial. But if that is you, then you need to listen to this. MRI scans of participants in a study after reading showed an increased connectivity in the language center of their brains. In other words, reading can help you get better at talking, it can improve your social skills, and it can help you get better at articulating yourself so you feel more confident in social settings. You're able to read the room a lot better just by reading. It's ironic because it's such a quiet activity. Like, you'd normally expect somebody who doesn't socialize a lot. But it's funny because by reading and by performing this quiet activity, you can actually increase your social skills and improve them by a long shot. Reading can also make us feel more connected and increase empathy towards others. It increases our emotional intelligence. It has been proven to reduce depression and anxiety, and it can help you regain your attention span, which is a given, right? The one I wanted to really focus on is empathy, because in every book you read, there are characters, and those characters face problems, face challenges, and when you read those, you explore them through the eyes of the character, and because of that, you automatically start to understand what it's like to live from their perspective, sort of, right? It helps you shift your perspective a little bit, which then makes you more open to other people's ideas. If you read about a character battling anxiety, you are more likely to relate with people, or at least understand people who are experiencing anxiety in real life. Number 4, this one is a no-brainer, but apparently a lot of people still don't do this. Here's just a little different take on it. Making your bed. The first time I really thought about this in my life was when my orthodontist brought it up to me. Instead of asking me about my teeth, my orthodontist was asking me, do you make your bed in the mornings? And I was just so confused and thrown off by that. I was like, why are you asking me this? Like, what does this have to do with anything? But I finally understand why she was asking me that now. You can think of it this way. Making your bed in the morning, first thing in the morning, is like getting a task done first thing in the morning. You start your morning routine and you're already off to such a good start, so-called, right? It might not be that big, but it's a task. And that fills your brain up with a sense of accomplishment, which then gives you motivation to then complete other tasks. And then by the end of the day, you might have just boosted your productivity. Now, I've been trying to find a lot more benefits on this. Scientifically, obviously, this is proven. There are also some reasons people are saying you shouldn't make your bed because it traps dust mites. So do what works for you. We're all wired differently. That it doesn't mean that if you don't make your bed in the morning, you're not going to be productive. There are people out there who don't make their beds, but they still get all the tasks they need to done during their day. So do what works best for you. But honestly, from personal experience, like just keeping your room clean, neat and tidy, like first thing in the morning, it helps so much with focus and concentration. I just am able to navigate through my day so much better because my mind has automatically been decluttered. I have to think about less things because there are less things around in the room for me to see. So it's really great. If you work in your room, then I highly recommend that you make your bed in the morning. Number 5, I kind of struggle with this sometimes, practicing gratitude. Now, a lot of people have told me that this is supposed to boost your happiness. It makes you feel more content, more fulfilled with your life, which makes sense to me on paper. Like, yeah, I get it. I understand, but honestly, I don't think it'll work if you're not being genuine and honest with yourself. Like, you really have to rack your brain and think about things that are truly personally important to you and that you're grateful for. It's not just like the basic stuff. Like, yes, having food and shelter is a massive thing to be grateful for, but sometimes I feel like you have to really make it personalized to yourself. So I would recommend not just being grateful for like the generic things that you have, but to also try to practice gratitude in terms of like your entire day. So in my 5-minute journal, there's like this prompt section that asks you, what are 3 things that you're grateful for? I kind of have to rack my brain and I'll usually base it around the day. And I just think that it helps you understand that, okay, just because this and this and this isn't working, this is working in my life and I'm grateful for that. More than a sense of happiness, in my opinion, it leaves you with a sense of peace. You feel fulfilled, you feel content. I think it puts me in more of a neutral state than a happy state where I just feel like everything, not everything, but most things are okay in life. And it just makes me feel a teeny tiny bit better every single day. So I highly recommend that you start practicing gratitude. And you should honestly do this with your journaling. Like for me, because I use a 5-minute journal, this is not sponsored. I'm just saying this because this journal actually made such a huge difference in my life. If you write them side by side. So write your goals down and then also write down what you are currently grateful for. I feel like it just expands your opportunities. It expands your mindset and your way of thinking, because in order to have these goals in the first place, you need to have that mindset where you're like, yeah, I can achieve this. I can do this. And in order to get that mindset, you have to look at what you already have. And that can suck sometimes, especially when we're having really bad days. But if you just try to find the tiniest good things, like even being grateful for the small things in life, like being able to buy a cup of coffee. So if you are looking for peace and tranquility in your life, this is the way, I promise you. But yeah, you really have to make it a habit, and you have to practice it every day so that you train your brain to start looking for the good in days rather than bad. Because again, like I said, going back to the RAS, if you start focusing on these things, if you're writing it down, your brain's gonna start focusing on that. All right, I think that is it for this video. That turned out to be a little bit longer than I wanted to. It's okay. You know what? At least you guys know about the RAS now and how you can use it and trick it to work in your advantage. Thank you for watching. I am grateful for you, and I will see you in the next video. Send me comments, send me ideas for podcast episodes, and I would absolutely love to talk about them in detail.